Hello, universe. Welcome to the most spectacular wrestling podcast you will find on the internet. You are listening to Tag Me In, bro. I'm Joe Tantillo, and as always, I'm seated next to my terrific co-host, Taryn O'Connor. Say hi to the people, Taryn.
Hi to the people, Taryn.
If you're new to the show, the format is simple. Each week, we discuss all the magnificent moments, turbulent times, and stunning surprises that professional wrestling has to offer.
So turn your radio up and your opinions down, because we've got some hot tags coming up NXT, which means next.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
What's up, universe? It's Joe Tantillo, the J-Lister, coming to you live from Buffalo, New York. We are going to be talking all things Monday Night Raw this week and talking a little bit about Extreme Rules, but our full predictions episode with Team Less Little Less Big, Tommy and Taryn, will be dropping on Friday, so you're going to want to keep your eyes peeled for that. Raw last night was an interesting one, perhaps not the most interesting, but it finally set the full stage for Extreme Rules, so we can at least thank them for that. A lot of crazy things happened in the past week in the world of non-wrestling stuff, but with respect to wrestling, like Brock Lesnar showing up at UFC and calling out Daniel Cormier. It looks like they're going to be fighting for the World Heavyweight UFC title in at MSG in November is the rumor, so that is pretty exciting stuff. Brock, I see you have time to go to UFC. If you could show up to a WWE pay-per-view, that would be stupendous. But folks, you don't want to miss out on 1 second of Tag Me In Bro content, so you go on Twitter right now and follow us at Tag Me In Bro. Join our 7,000 followers in debates, discussions, sometimes giveaways, and also polls and follow trains, etc., etc. All the good things you want in terms of Twitter content. Also, if you like this show, go on over to iTunes and drop us a 5-star Frog Splash review. It helps us grow, it helps us thrive, and it helps us bring you better and more content. And if you really, really like the show, tell your friends about it, even if they don't like wrestling. Convince them to like wrestling, because then you'll have more friends to watch wrestling with. Am I wrong? No, I am not. So let's get started, because it is about to go down in a big way. Today, tomorrow, and every day, we are talking wrestling. First things first, we'll cover the Raw Rundown, where we'll give you our analysis of the best and most important bits of last night's show. Then, of course, we go to our Hi to the People segment, where we engage you on a variety of topics. This week's, of course, engaging you on who you think is going to win at Extreme Rules. We'll get those fan predictions lined up. Then we go to the Indie Corner, where we're going to talk about the Kenny versus Cody match from the G1 special at the Cow Palace. And then we go to our main event, where we talk about the question on everyone's mind this week, which, of course, this week is, what are the top 10 best match stipulations of all time in honor of Extreme Rules pay-per-view? And then we finish the show the way that we do every week with our stars of the night. So, first things first, let's get to that Raw Rundown. Woo! Here are the only 5 things you need to know about Monday Night Raw last night. Number 5, KO vs. Braun announcement. And number 4, Nia pins Mickie James. Number 3, Baron Corbin pins Bobby Roode. Number 2, Drew McIntyre beats Rollins. And number 1, Roman and Lashley brawl. Like I said before, it wasn't the most interesting episode of Monday Night Raw this week. Here to break it down with me is my real-life bro from the same mo, John Tantillo at BFLO Codebreaker on Twitter. John, say hi to the people.
It's me, it's JJT.
So we are talking Raw from last night. So let's start off with number 5. They announced Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman, steel cage match at Extreme Rules. Your thoughts?
Great. Because this pay-per-view needed more matches.
Yeah, it needed more extreme matches is what it needed. We didn't even get a stairs match or a chairs match. This is like mild rules as far as I'm concerned, or normal. It's just normal rules. It's just normal rules.
This Sunday, WWE rules.
They would do that.
They totally would.
Anyway, that match is happening. I'm sure Braun will dominate, except maybe KO will escape the cage. I don't know. Find out what I really think on Friday in our predictions podcast. See that? Self-advertising. Self-advertising. This is what you gotta fucking do in the world of podcasts. It's cutthroat!
First of all, stop hitting my shoulder. Second of all, who the fuck else are we gonna advertise?
Yeah. I don't know. We got buddies and podcast buddies and stuff.
Sponsored by Coke.
Sponsored by... No,
Not like No Way Jose, whose pants were sponsored by fucking Sprite yesterday.
I know, right? It was making me thirsty. He's dancing out there, and I'm thinking I could use a nice lemon lime twisted drink with some carbonation in it. Sprite, sponsor a Sprite, hashtag ad. Anyway, moving on. Number 4, Nia pins Mickie James. There was a women's tag team match, which featured Natalya and Nia on one side, Mickie and Alexa on the other. It was actually a pretty good match. Natalya and Nia make a very interesting combination. I enjoyed watching those two perform. Nia won in the end, and she's got her Extreme Rules match against Alexa on Saturday that Nia's going to be at ringside because she bought a ticket, and I'm sure she will interfere. I don't know who's going to win. Find out on Friday on our predictions podcast. John?
Good old Randall Rousey's gonna get involved.
Yeah. Oh, Ronda. Speaking of Ronda, she has a pre-order bonus for WWE 2K19. They dropped the commercial last night. It was pretty good. It had Rowdy Piper talking to her and wishing her best, and it was actually a pretty good commercial. I'm hyped for 2K19.
It was pretty good. I am excited.
Yeah, you got Ray, you get Ronda, and you got AJ on the cover. What's not to like?
I don't know.
I wish they would just show us some goddamn gameplay footage.
Not there yet, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, it comes out in October.
If Brock's still the strongest, I quit.
Brocktober, 99% points. Moving on, number 3, Baron Corbin pins Bobby Roode. The Constable pinned Bobby Roode in a tag team match that featured also Finn and Elias, who were kind of there for no reason, even though the feud is between Baron and Finn. Somebody tweeted at us yesterday that it would be better if Baron Corbin had a full-on British police officer gimmick as Constable Baron Corbin, uniform, small pencil and pad, little billy club, and like full-on forced English accent. I'd watch it. Take note, WWE creative.
Yeah, I'm so glad that this fucking ass bruise feud is still happening.
Yeah, Ass Brews feud. Number 2, Drew McIntyre beat Seth Rollins in what was a very great main event produced by Tyson Kidd. If you don't know, he used to if you're just watching wrestling, he used to wrestle and he got a horrible career-ending injury. He's now a WWE producer. He is also the husband of Natalya. He has been producing all the best matches that you've seen on Raw in the past couple of weeks. This was no exception, and McIntyre got the win, which in my opinion was the right move. He's not ready to lose yet, but it was a great match, and Rollins got distracted, curb stomping Ziggler, and they're headed to face each other in a 30-minute Iron Man match this Sunday. And finally, number 1, Roman Lashley brawl. The whole locker room came out. Roman did his over-the-top rope dive spot. It was all right. It was pretty cool. Like I popped a little bit. I like this feud. I really do. I'm more interested in this feud than any of the Roman feuds in the past. To be honest, I think Lashley's looked really good as like an ass-kicking badass, and he looks way tougher than Roman. Like he can legitimately beat the crap out of him. Roman's looked charismatic by comparison to Lashley because he's not the best on the mic. So all around, everybody's getting a little bit of elevation. This match is apparently going to be main eventing Extreme Rules, which we're going to talk about in our High to the People review from last week's poll. But that's it. Raw was, not a lot happened.
Yeah, it was pretty boring.
Yeah, there was some B team stuff.
I love the B team. They are angels.
They are. They're just adorable. Woken beat theme up in this room, up on this earth, up in that ring. Make it happen. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And that was our conversation and your Raw Rundown. Let us know what you think on social media. And speaking of social media, it's time to say hi to the people. This week on High to the People, we want to know your thoughts on who's going to win at Extreme Rules. So if you don't know, now you know, sucka. It's our prediction series. Currently, Team Less Little Less Big hold the undisputed tag team championships for Tag Me In Bro, and the fans hold the undisputed heavyweight championship for Tag Me In Bro. So if you want to keep your hands on that championship, which we are coming for furiously because the fans are the first and only inaugural champions, and only champions to have held it to date, we want it. We want that thing. So we're gonna come after it. But you gotta vote on Twitter and let us know who you think is gonna win. So do that. You can vote on Twitter by tweeting at us and using the hashtag #HotTag. Vote in the polls. Make sure you vote in the entire thread. That's very important because if you miss out, you might be the person that loses it for all you fans, and you don't want to be that guy. So let's take a look at the results of last week's poll, where we asked you, should Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley main event the Extreme Rules pay-per-view? 79% of you said hell nah, and 21% of you said absolutely. Let's read a couple of my favorite responses here. Wow, there were a lot of responses. Like 3 different people, including our buddies over at Take the Bump podcast, just did that gif where it just says, hell no, no, no. Let's see. Kathy Carter at Kitty Fitzmom said, not unless it's for a title. AJ versus Rusev should be the main event. I'm a Reigns fan, but I don't even think it should be the main event. And Lorraine at Fandaya just did a Daniel Bryan gif of him going, no. And Marvin Thomas at Marvin Thomas 11 said, do they really want Beach Ball Mania to run wild in that arena? Couldn't agree more, Marvin Thomas. It's like I said, I like the feud. I'm digging it. It should not be the main event. They don't want people booing. They're finally starting to get these guys over a little bit. Don't shoot yourself in the foot like you always do, Vinnie Mac. But you will. You just will. Anyway, looking forward to see what you guys have to say for the predictions, and looking forward to see who wins and who will be the Tag Me In Bro Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World starting next Monday.
Bullet Club is fine.
Now let's take a spin to the Indie Corner. This past weekend, Kenny Omega versus Cody Rhodes for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship happened in San Francisco at the Cow Palace at the G1 Special. Kenny Omega won in what was a very good match. Cody came out after the... Well, actually, let's backtrack a little bit because it is Bullet Club Civil War. Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Haku have declared war on the Bullet Club, saying they are the real Bullet Club and declared themselves the firing squad. They attacked the Golden Elite following the match. Cody came out and turned face, rejoining the true Bullet Club. And if you watched Being the Elite from yesterday, you saw that everybody, Marty Scurll, Hangman Page, Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega, of course, and Ibushi are all united. They all sat together and they said, how are we going to get back at these motherfuckers? That's why we're an NSFW podcast, because we use words like motherfuckers, just like they do in Being the Elite, because we're cool, like those cool cats. Anyway, they're going for full Civil War. This new Tama Tonga Tongaroa faction seems pretty cool. I hope Tama Tonga wins the G1 and gets a huge push. It would be amazing. Lots of exciting things happening in New Japan, as always. Make sure you watch the G1. It's starting up soon. It is a tournament, best tournament in wrestling, in my opinion. So that is the Indie Corner for this week. Kenny Omega continues to be the heavyweight champion, and there is turmoil across the Bullet Club. We'll be talking more about that moving forward as it develops.
Are you fucking kidding me? I don't give a hug. Bailey does not get bumped from a talk show.
And now, it's time for the main event! This week in the main event, we're delivering you the top 10 best match stipulations of all time. In honor of WWE's Extreme Rules and in our disgust that there weren't actually more match stipulations, we sat down and we put together our list for what actually are the top 10 best match stipulations of all time in professional wrestling. Thinking about mostly WWE matches, but a few WCW ones, etc., and some NXT and some things outside of that realm as well. But we've come up with what I think is a pretty solid list, and it's our definitive ranking. But first things first, let's give a few of our dishonorable mentions that didn't make the list and didn't stand a chance. You have, of course, your kendo stick on a pole match. No, don't do it again. Pretty much anything on a pole, if you're putting it on a pole in wrestling, don't.
Pole on a pole match?
Pole on a pole match, Viagra on a pole match, Viagra on 2 poles on a pole with a pole match.
A Polish pole polishing on a pole match?
Jesus. A stairs match. What the fuck were you thinking? What the fuck were you thinking, Vince McMahon? And it was like Big Show versus Kane as well. Like the 2 slowest guys wielding like the slowest thing to wield.
Stairs.
Like, they should have... You know what? Those guys could use to lose a little weight. A stairs match should have been a fucking stair master match, more like.
That was mean.
Yeah, yeah. It was mean. That was back when Big Show was real heavy, though. And he lost a lot of weight. And, you know what? He looks good.
They called him the large show.
Yeah, that was when... Remember when Vince was like, you're too fat, go back to OVW and lose some weight, you and Mark Henry. God.
don't get it.
But they were like, unhealthy. Like, you can't be 500 pounds even at his height. This is not good, man. It's
true.
Bad for your knee. That's how Andre the Giant died. He got too heavy. And he kept growing.
Yeah, tumor on his brain though.
Yeah, that was not good. That was not good.
That was the main issue.
Yeah, that was the
brain
central
tumor.
theme of what happened. Rest in peace.
Big Show got his brain tumor removed.
Rest in peace, my man.
R.I.P. Andre.
By the way, unrelated to this conversation, my brother finally pointed out to me this week Enzo Moore's music video because I refused to watch it, where he just goes, "Consensual penis!" And I was shocked and appalled. I know he was acquitted, but dear God, there's something wrong with that man. I'm glad he's not in WWE anymore. Anyway, back to this conversation. A few more dishonorable mentions. Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. Not good. Punjabi prison match.
There have been 3.
Bad.
That's a problem.
All bad. And finally, perhaps the number one most dishonorable mention, the House of Horrors match.
Also known as the refrigerator match.
Goddamn, Randy Orton, when he was sitting in the back of that limo with with just pants on and no shirt, and the little green cocktail napkins were there, and it was nighttime, except it was definitely daytime, like where the arena was in California. Just... there have been some bad stipulations, but we're not here to talk about the bad ones. We're here to make fun of them. We're mostly here to talk about the good ones. And without further ado, the top 10 match stipulations of all time list, starting with number 10. Number 10, War Games.
Yeah, War Games.
War Games is just one of the coolest creations of all time. Now, there really has only been one in WWE, but obviously there were a bunch in WCW. Just what's cooler than actually combining 2 rings and like 2 steel cages?
I would love to imagine they were sitting in a meeting and they were like, we need something new, something fresh. What can we do better? Well, what if instead of having 1 cage, we had 2 cages?
War Games is great because it actually allows you to have proper faction battles, and it worked so well in NXT when you had Sanity and a Disputed Era and Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong. Like, there's not a lot of other matches that allow you to effectively have faction warfare, and that's why War Games makes this list, because not only does it combine, hardcore elements, it also allows you to do storytelling that other matches don't allow you to do very well. Number 9. Last Man Standing. John, why is Last Man Standing at number 9 on this list?
So we kept... Last Man Standing actually started out pretty high on this list, around like number 3, and then as we were listing the other match stipulations, we were just being like, well, this seems better than Last Man Standing, and well, this seems better than Last Man Standing. And while it is great and can lead to some interesting spots, there doesn't have to be a definitive winner, which was a big problem when we were ranking these. In addition to that, one of the points I made was, at no other point in professional wrestling are we meant to believe that anything can keep a guy down for 10 seconds. So it's just kind of this weird, like, out of left field thing that they do.
Yeah, Last Man Standing matches are always really cool, and usually the culmination of major feuds. Obviously, we just saw the one with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura that was really good. The problem being is that, like you said, often they're a bit contrived, and they have to have these forced, like, huge spots, which are sometimes good and sometimes not good, where it's like, okay, this will definitely keep someone down for 10, which is why it's not higher on the list, but it's absolutely worthy of making this list, which is why it is at the number 9 spot. Number 8, Street Fight. / Extreme Rules match / weapons match, but we decided to list it as Street Fight because that's my favorite name for one of these kind of matches. Basically, an anything goes, use a lot of weapons, beat the shit out of each other type match.
But you gotta wear jeans.
Yeah, that's what I like about Street Fight. No real ring gear.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta wear just your civilian clothes, and you brawl all over the arena. These are some of the most fun matches that you get in WWE or in professional wrestling, when 2 guys who just hate each other beat the crap out of each other with whatever they can get their hands on. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite spots from one of the most recent Street Fights, obviously being the Gargano Ciampa one, was the stop sign that was hidden inside of the poster.
I forgot about that spot.
Yeah, and there, call it whatever you want. Call it a Belfast brawl. Call it a street fight. It's just, you know what you're getting with this kind of match. You're getting a lot of weapons. You're usually getting some blood. You're usually getting brawling all throughout the arena. And if you're really lucky, outside the arena.
And if you're really lucky, you get a vintage Orton DDT onto exposed wood.
Yeah. So Street Fight, definitely deserving of being on this list. And the only reason it's not higher on this list is because it's typically just, they're not always the best and most exciting wrestling matches. They're just kind of like cool weapons and like fun, which is good.
Yeah.
But,
Wrestling is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Number 7, steel cage match. So in my own personal list, steel cage match would actually be a lot higher because I love a traditional steel cage match. It's one of my favorite stips. But when we were putting this list together, the problem with the steel cage match, which I actually like but a lot of people don't, is the possibility of escape, because it opens up the world for a lot of different storytelling options, a lot of different psychology. You can do the cowardly heel, you can do the babyface just trying to win right away. You got the door and over the top of the cage, and of course you can also win by pinfall and submission or KO, which is great. It's just such an iconic thing in wrestling, like having a steel cage match. I miss the blue cages from back in the day.
Those are great.
But one of my favorite steel cage matches of all time was Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver: The End of the Beginning. Like, that was just a terrific match. And obviously, steel cage, you can have problems like with Brock vs. Roman, the most recent one. But they're just, again, everything on this list, the thing about wrestling stipulations is they're fun. And when you see them once in a while, it really keeps it special.
Yeah.
John, any more thoughts on that?
Anyone who follows my Twitter knows that last night when the Braun versus KO match was announced, I tweeted out something which I found hilarious. I'm not sure if other people found it hilarious, which was, what kind of stipulation do we put Kevin Owens in since he keeps running away? Well, how about a match that can be won by running away?
Yeah, I know, really. Like, put him in Hell in a Cell, jeez.
Yeah,
anyway,
honestly.
Number 6, First Blood. Who doesn't love blood? And they don't really do first blood matches anymore. They do outside of WWE occasionally, but first blood is just fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
It's really as simple as that. Like, it's just such a brutal match stip.
Yeah, there was no way we could make a list of the top 10 match tips without having this on there. And despite the fact that it's basically retired in mainstream WWE, it deserves a spot on this list. And I, for one, hope someday we see a return, maybe in NXT, which is a little bit more hardcore.
Maybe.
Aleister Black versus literally anyone in First Blood, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch it. Yeah. Lars could be a good First Blood.
No, Lars got broke jaw right now.
Yeah, he does
can't
got
do
broke
much,
jaw. He
which
does got
I
broke
totally
jaw.
called during that match.
Yeah. Number 5, this is one that I had to be persuaded should make it up this high on the list, but John is an excellent proponent of this, and I'm going to let him explain, but it's the 2 out of 3 falls match.
2 out of 3 falls is my personal favorite match stipulation. Joe was making the argument, well, it's just kind of 3 one-fall matches, but it's more than that in my eyes. It adds so much room for storytelling, whether the heel gets the first fall or the face gets the first fall. If it's a blowout, if it's 1-1, there's just so many different scenarios where you can get so many different types of stories out of it, and I love it. I love that nervous feeling when the guy you want to win is 1 fall behind, and then it's a battle to come back from that, and it's just so good.
Yeah, you know what? Obviously the recent Kenny versus Kazuchika match was 2 out of 3 falls, and that was spectacular. Probably the best wrestling match I've ever seen. Although I loved the street fight between Gargano and Ciampa too. So
it's close.
It's rare that it's so common that a stip match is like one of the best matches. Like on your top 10 matches of all time list, there are a bunch of stip matches. Like it just makes it easier. It's that added element. And like, don't get me wrong, I love a normal 1v1, but you got to spice it up a bit occasionally.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do with 1 fall.
Yeah, and you got to be a great wrestlers.
Yeah.
All right, we're now in the top 5. Moving on, number 4, Hell in a Cell. What would a top 10 stipulations list be without Hell in a Cell? It's just created some of the best matches of all time in WWE. Who doesn't love the famous spot where Undertaker throws Mankind off the top of the cell and through the cell? It's just great. Or when Rikishi fell off the top, or when Shane jumps off, or how about Triple H versus Undertaker, end of an era? There are just so, and don't get me wrong, John made this point to me, but when we were making the list, it is a little bit oversaturated with the specific Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I prefer when it's just used as a stip more randomly to bring into a good feud, but it's still just, it's so iconic, and it's hard not to get excited about.
Yeah, it really is a match that's synonymous with WWE at this point. It's just, there's so many iconic images, like you mentioned, Mankind going through the cell, tooth in his nose. It's just, it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful carnage.
Yeah, it's really hard not to kind of like get excited when they have one. I mean, even Charlotte versus Sasha one from more recently was amazing. Like you get good matches. People bring out the best in each other in those matches for the most part. I mean, there are a few duds here and there, but they can't all be winners. But that's why this is at number 4 on the list. All right, moving into the top 3, very prestigious territory here. Number 3 is a ladder match. Traditional ladder match. What site gets you more hype than seeing that title hanging above the ring? One of my all-time favorite ladder matches was Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Another one, you get the spot with Shawn Michaels diving off the ladder. That's iconic. Another one, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose at Money in the Bank a few years. Or no, was it Money in the Bank or was it Elimination Chamber? I don't remember. Oh my God, I'm showing the holes in my wrestling knowledge. But you know the one where they both pull the title down at the same time and they both fall to the mat. Just such an amazing
Not to mention
moment.
the 6-man ladder match for the North American title, which was given 5 stars.
Oh my God.
One of the best ladder matches I've ever seen.
And Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens when Finn Balor won his first NXT championship at Beast in the East, where he did the coup de grace off the ladder for I think the first time in WWE. Just there's so many great moments and historic moments in a ladder match.
And there's so much variance when it comes to ladder match. Like TLC, essentially a ladder match. That's the win stipulation, is you got to climb and grab the title. I mean, Money in the Bank, ladder match.
Yeah, well, no, TLC is not always with the belts above the ring. Sometimes you just win by pinfall or submission.
Really?
Yeah, there's not always belts on the line in TLC.
Well, it still counts. It still counts. Don't make me feel bad.
No, I'm not making you feel bad. It's okay. You're still young.
But Money in the Bank, great ladder match.
Yeah.
Always, even when the winner isn't quite what we want. It's always still a good match.
Yeah.
But traditional ladder match is just, you can't beat it. That feeling of like, my guy is climbing to the top, and
when they hit that hard cam shot.
Because it's always the first guy that goes up, not gonna get it. The next guy to go up, probably not gonna get it. But third guy and onward, it's like, there's a chance. There's a chance this match could be ending.
All right, number 2, I Quit match. This is just what is more definitive in a wrestling feud than one person in a match being forced to say, I quit. So my dream is that John Cena's retirement match is an I Quit match against another babyface who he actually passes the torch to, because he's the king of I Quit matches. It's his specialty match, in my opinion, and just in proof. Like, just, heel versus babyface, nothing's better than when that babyface finally overcomes him and forces them to quit. Or in the rare situation where the babyface actually quits. Or because a pass out doesn't do it. You have to say the words. You have to actually give up. And that's just awesome.
It was so close between this and our number 1, which we'll get to in a minute. But we were talking, from the minute we started making this list, we were like, we know it's going to be either I Quit or what the number one is. But it's just, it's such a perfect ending to any story, and it's really only reserved for that top level feud. And it's an incredible sight, and they get the length that they deserve, and they don't do them unless they're going to be great.
Yeah, and we mentioned in Last Man Standing that it takes a lot to get a wrestler to actually be down for 10 seconds. This is kind of an exception to that. It takes a lot to get someone to say I quit in WWE. They've really protected it where, like, the loser doesn't even really look weak. They just, like, it's just a definitive loss, which is what I like, because they just get put through so much hell until they finally give up.
This should be the final Gargano versus Ciampa match.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I Quit it's great.
It's perfect.
But the number 1 stipulation of all time is 60-minute Iron Man match. There is no better demonstration of the skill and athleticism and ability of two wrestlers than to put them in the ring for 1 hour with no limits on how many pinfalls there can be and say, literally, whoever beats the other person more is the winner. And of course, if there's no winner at the end of 60 minutes, it goes into sudden death, which has created some iconic moments in WWE history.
We picked this as our number one because it is the most definitive demonstration of who is the best wrestler. And that to us was the most important thing for a stipulation is you need to prove that you are the best. While I Quit comes close, it's more of a psychological victory than a definitive athletic victory.
Yeah. 60-minute Iron Man match, and 30-minute Iron Man match doesn't even make this list because
fuck yourself, 30-minute Iron Man
that's
match.
weak sauce, as they used to say in the olden times of 2005.
I'm still excited about the one on Sunday. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, but 60-minute Iron Man match is the number one best wrestling stipulation of all time. So once more, let's recap the list. Actually, first, a couple matches that were really good that didn't make the list. Casket match did not make the list, but it's fun. Ambulance match is another one, and submission matches. So there are lots more that did not make this list. But the top 10 again from 10 to 1. Number 10, War Games. Number 9, Last Man Standing. Number 8, Street Fight. Number 7, Steel Cage. Number 6, First Blood. Number 5, 2 out of 3 Falls. Number 4, Hell in a Cell. Number 3, Ladder Match. Number 2, I Quit, and number 1, 60-minute Iron Man match. So that has been our main event. That was a wonderful discussion, John. Thank you for joining me for that. Let us know exactly what you think on social media. Do you agree with our list? Do you disagree? Let us know your own list. Tweet it at us. We'll be tweeting out our list a little while after we drop the podcast so that people actually have to listen to this and listen to our voices because you love it in your car. This voice on your way to work early in the morning. It's not annoying. You don't want to kill me right now.
Your kids and your wife hate us, though.
Yeah. No. They love us. They love us. I'm your real dad, and that has been our main event. We'll close out the way we do every night with our stars of the night.
Here are our stars of the night for Monday Night Raw, July 9th, 2018 edition.
You just made the list!
Number 3, the B Team. The B Team have been continuing to mock the Deleters of World in some absolutely hilarious segments. I love Bo Wyatt. I love Curtis Axel as Woken Matt. It is hysterical. Please go back and watch it if you didn't already. It's great. Number 2, Constable Baron Corbin picked up a victory against Bobby Roode last night in a tag match. It was Corbin and Elias versus Bobby Roode and Finn Balor. I forgot there for a second. I apologize. But he's continuing to put on pretty good matches. I'm liking his new look, even though he wrestles in like a vest, and it's kind of weird. But it's better than him shirtless. So, yay. And number 1 is Drew McIntyre. Drew put on an absolute banger of a match in the main event with Seth Rollins, like we said, produced by Tyson Kidd, so it can't be bad. He has done no wrong yet, and just these two guys are absolutely incredible at what they do. So Drew, you are our number 1 star of the night, and you deserve it.
Well, that'll do it for us here at Tag Me In, Bro. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and subscribe to the podcast on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, iTunes, and pretty much wherever podcasts are found, because we are everywhere. Don't forget to give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We really appreciate it, and it helps us to grow, as we said before. Make sure to let us know on Twitter what you liked, what you hated, and what you could give a damn about, because we always want to know your opinions. For my co-host, John Tantillo, I have been Joe Tantillo. Thank you for listening to Tag Me In, Bro, and we will see you tomorrow for SmackDown Live, and then again on Friday for the Extreme Rules predictions. Goodbye, Universe.
Goodbye, Universe.